Hello and welcome to the Checking the Gate podcast.
Hello, hello.
I am Doug.
And I'm Mason.
And we're back. As if we were never gone.
Did I go somewhere? I don't remember leaving.
Well, I guess it's one of those cases where, like, everyone's doesn't know that we haven't recorded in a few weeks. Although I have recorded with other people. I've been podcast cheating on you.
Oh. And all the while storing me in the closet.
Yeah. Well, you know, sprinkle a little bit of chloroform in there and an after time he goes. Anyway, yeah, this is gonna be a good one because we are covering a film that we just saw a few days ago at the Vancouver International Film Festival,
which is the Toronto International Film Festival with half the calories.
Yes, well, a lot less Hollywood fare at the Vancouver International Film Festival.
Yeah,
it's definitely more geared toward contemplative, arty films. Although I've seen some pretty good content at the festival.
Not to say that like contemplative and arty isn't good. It's just more what's the word I'm looking for? Eclectic. That's the one. Eclectic.
But it definitely it just requires. It's just for definitely for cinephiles.
Yeah.
Like it's just not there's not a lot of mainstream appeal to some of the films.
Yeah.
But actually, I felt that there is a lot of mainstream potential for the one we watched today. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be one of the probably one of the more mainstream kind of films out there because it's got a pretty well known Hollywood director attached at this point.
Yep.
And a lot of pretty big actors.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about Men, Women, and Children.
I think if I disappeared tomorrow, the universe wouldn't really notice. There's a girl, though.
Okay, you've read through every solitary interaction I've had on every single website, Mom.
Honey, you know I just do this to keep you safe. Okay, let me see your phone.
It's a bit of an invasion, don't you think?
Don't allow guilt to prevent you from doing what's right. You said something about video games?
My son's pretty into them, you know.
I'm very dangerous. I am keeping my daughter safe. And of course I can teach all of you how to do the same.
I have installed a camera in my daughter's brain and a 7-digit PIN code on her vagina.
We got 6 new subscribers today. You sure you're comfortable?
Yeah.
The new film by Jason Reitman, who is, of course, the son of Ivan Reitman, but makes very different kind of movies than Ivan Reitman.
Yeah.
Not so much Ghostbusters, more Juno.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Juno.
And Jason Reitman's a director I really like. Have you seen? How many of his movies have you seen?
Men, Women, and Children, Up in the Air, Juno, Thank You for Smoking.
I think Thank You for Smoking was sort of his big breakthrough film.
Yeah, because I don't even think you've heard any of the ones that came before that.
They're probably pretty under the radar. So there you go. So Thank You for Smoking, Up in the Air, Juno. I saw Young Adult. I really liked Young Adult, actually. I didn't see Labor Day. I was kind of interested in mostly, actually, I was only interested in Labor Day because I saw it was by Jason Reitman. And I'm like, okay, I'll get onto that. And then I just, unfortunately, didn't have the time. And just when it was in theaters, it kind of came and went really fast. And
yeah.
So it goes. But I'm glad we made time for Men, Women, and Children.
Yeah, it's a very, very good movie.
Yeah, we went to the Vancouver Playhouse, which is where... No,
the Center.
The Center for the Arts, the other one. Yes, my bad.
The Vancouver Playhouse is where you see theater.
Yeah, but they're doing VIFF films there as well.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, so that's actually the only venues I haven't been to yet. The Vancouver Center for the Arts, and it's a big auditorium. Like it's a pretty substantial building. Actually, it's a gorgeous building. I love it. And so yeah, it's a big audience. I think it's the biggest venue that the festival has, and it was pretty full in there. Like I don't know if it was a sold out show, but it was pretty full. So this is one of the films at VIFF that has garnered a lot of interest, and I think for good reason. And also like it's just because it's it's one of those ones where people know who the actors are and stuff like that. It has a
widespread appeal.
Yeah, it has that guy from
The Thing.
Mm-hmm. What was that kid from? He said he was in like The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh, Ansel Elgort, or if that's how you say his name.
That his name? I mean, that's a name.
That's his name. His first name is definitely Ansel, and he's the guy who was Shailene Woodley's brother in Divergent, and then the guy she porked in The Fault in Our Stars, which is an amazing, amazing movie. Ansel Elgort.
Yeah, it's quite a name he's got going on
Yeah.
there. It's also got Jennifer Garner and Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah.
And for those of you who are like, Adam Sandler, you know, like the guy actually can act, and it's a shame that he defaults on being goofy and like, I'm Adam Sandler, wow, I'm playing this kind of character today. But you know, he can play down to earth and actually pretty decent performances when he puts his mind to it.
But also, to be fair, I always say that I know a movie is going to be good when I don't see Happy Madison in front of the film.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. So this isn't an Adam Sandler movie. It is a movie that casted Adam Sandler in one of the parts.
Yeah.
And it was good. And he did well. And he had some pretty strong moments in there. Judy Greer also in it.
Dean Norris, who played the brother-in-law from Breaking Bad.
Oh, is that where he's from? See,
yes.
I didn't really recognize it. Well, because I don't watch Breaking Bad.
Well, you should. It is literally addicting.
Okay, so is the word addicting or addictive? Because I say addictive, and that seems to me to be the right word, but I hear everybody say addicting, and it's so addicting, and it just doesn't seem like that's the right word, and it's one of those cases where people don't use it correctly.
I'm going to look.
I'm looking this up right now.
However, I assume that addicting refers to something that will addict you. And addictive refers to a substance that is legitimately addictive.
Addicting doesn't seem to have a definition. And it says addict. I look up addicting, it comes with addict. A person who is addicted to an activity or a verb dependent on an addictive substance. So, there you go. I think that's pretty conclusive. I look up addicting. Dictionary.com is like, no. And I'm like, oh, sorry, Dictionary.com.
Oh.
So... In conclusion, from this point on, addictive. Everyone who's listening, something's not addicting; it's addictive.
Yeah.
Got that? So,
Breaking
Bad is literally addictive.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that might very well be. It's just one of those shows that I just haven't gotten a chance to get to yet. I'm sure I'll like it. Everyone seems to say it's pretty quality television.
Yes, it is.
But it hasn't reached me just yet. So Dean Norris, Emma Thompson.
Yep.
Is the narrator. I had a feeling it was her. I didn't see her, but she's got a distinctive voice.
Yeah.
And a lot of teen actors. So a lot of whom I don't think are very well known at this point.
And J. Jonah Jameson.
Of course, J.K. Simmons. I don't see him right here on the first of the IMDb page, but J.K. Simmons was in it. Yeah. Well, he did his normal kind of thing. He wasn't. He didn't break any new ground. I don't think. I think we can expect more of that in his in that Whiplash movie.
Whiplash. That
looks pretty intense.
I'm so looking forward to that movie. Anyway, we are gushing a little too much.
I thought we were just going through names at this point.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't even started to gush.
Okay. Yeah.
Should I gush? Should I start to gush?
If you're going to gush, I think I should wear a raincoat. But
okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Okay, well, I guess let's start with what the film is about. And I think it's kind of a hard one to summarize because it's one of those ensemble films in which it has a lot of different stories, but each of them explore aspects of modern technology and social media, whether it's a son who's heavily addicted to porn, a father who's similarly addicted to porn, but also has a story where he's not satisfied in his marriage sexually.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you.
You disagree? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, at its heart, I think the movie is best summarized by its title. It's about men, women, and children. And the stories do navigate very, very heavily around technology and social media. However, the son that you're talking about, I wouldn't call him really addicted to porn. I would say he has had his taste in eroticism blown beyond conventional means, which is destructive for him because at the age he's at, it's not very easy or okay to ask partners to do what he would need to do to get off. There's a lot of people, adults, who have similar tastes, like with the maturity of a relationship or experience and experienced partners. It's a little better.
It wasn't that he wanted to explore other erotic avenues. It was that he had indulged in porn from such a young age and so frequently that he's become desensitized. That was the issue, I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, we were going to get more into each of the sort of stories a little bit as we go, but it didn't seem to me like he was like, I want to be tied up and spanked. It was sort of like...
Yeah, it did. Because there was that scene when he's talking to a girl and he's asks her directly, what would you do if I was tied up? And her answer made him react like, what? That totally not what I was expecting. Like, you could read that on his face. It's not what he wanted. He was into much more, I guess you could call it hardcore things than most conventional people, which is a downside of being exposed to porn too early. But, there's two types of men in the world when it comes... there's two types of people in the world when it comes to intimacy. I'm using finger quotes here. Like that. There's the people who were thinking about and fantasizing about it from the time they were 13. And then there's the people who discover their interest in it because of a partner.
I don't know. But anyway, back to the plot summary, I guess.
Yes.
It also explores...
the importance of social media and online communities.
No. Okay. It explores the effects of social media on society. People of our generation, or actually no, more of a slightly younger generation than us, people who were kind of raised with the internet, and the older generation. There wasn't really much of our demographic.
No.
But so yeah, teens. And I guess men, women, and children. So grown adults. Although we are grown adults, but we're not parents.
No.
So it only explored parents.
Yeah.
And yeah, sort of the repercussions of social media, for better or for worse, and also exploring insecurities of teens and adults too. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure though. Like I feel very strongly that this movie hit the nail on the head. A lot about the importance of online communities for young people. It's a brand new age, and for a lot of people, with the prevalence of anxiety disorders and general teen issues, a lot of people are turning to the internet and online avenues for social connection. By and large, I think that they're using it in rather safe ways. However, there are extremes on both ends.
Well, I would say that, if you saw this entirely as this is very important for young people today, I think that you're missing a big chunk of the film.
Well, no, it's also very much a cautionary tale, but it also highlighted how important these online communities are for kids.
Well, yes, and I mean the thing is that it doesn't. That's the thing. One thing I like about this film is that it doesn't try and sway you. Well, we bumped into a guy after the show who said that he felt this was very after school special. And to some, to a small degree, I can see where he was coming from.
Completely disagree.
But I felt like he wasn't giving the film enough credit for being as well balanced as it is.
Yeah.
I think that it explores, but it doesn't but doesn't force an answer upon you.
Yeah. I hope you can agree with me that the importance of online communities to kids for connections was highlighted.
But I also feel like it does highlight an issue of kids being almost unable to connect with each other on a very real level because of how important their online community is to them. And the thing is, but it's also no new thing for teens to feel alone and not feel like they're connecting with their peers at high school. That predates the internet.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can remember in even as early as middle school feeling alienated, and it wasn't that I was actually alienated from anybody. I just felt that way. It's a part of growing up.
I mean, I know that I didn't do middle school. I went from grade 7 straight to grade 8 in high school.
Because different districts.
Yeah, exactly. But I do remember, around grade 7, I had a couple friends, but I was still pretty lonely and still pretty unpopular. But also at that point in time, that was in the late 90s, early 2000s. The internet wasn't exactly I wasn't really connected to the internet in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, back then, I don't think YouTube was really a thing.
No, I think YouTube started around 2005, I want to say.
Yeah.
And Facebook wasn't really around.
No, there was MySpace. And
in the 90s? I don't even know if MySpace was around. At least I wasn't connected to it. I had no idea it was around.
Okay, well...
I think GeoCities and stuff was around. So, you got the really cheap... Well, I guess by today's standards, cheap, pasted together websites
with lots of glittering things
and JPEGs.
Oh, so many JPEGs
and no GIFs. I mean, yeah, GIFs and JPEGs.
GIF.
It's not pronounced GIF.
It's pronounced. There's many different ways of saying it.
Okay, and you just said the way I said it is wrong.
Well, yeah.
But
it's either GIF or JIF.
No.
Pretty sure.
No, it is either GIF or GIF.
No, I'm
pretty sure. Every time that guy says it on the PBS Idea channel, yes. I'm like, you're an idiot. Everything he says, I'm like, hey, this guy's pretty smart. The moment anyone says JIF, you're an idiot. As far as I'm concerned, how could you ever think that it was JIF? Looking at that, it's GIF or GIF. Well, I once used to argue that it was GIF because there's no way there's GIF. But then my ex, she's like, it can be pronounced either way. I'm like, I don't know about that. But then I thought about it. It's it depends sort of when you look at it, how you decide to say. And enough people say GIF and enough people say GIF that both are correct. Nobody says GIF or JIF.
I think that the guy who invented the term said it was JIF.
I don't know about that, but I would say that if you go by the rules of the English language, it's GIF or GIF. The I, you make the I sound if there's an E at the end of the word, or after the consonant follows the previous vowel. That's just how it goes. It's just the way the English language is and how it always has been and how it... Well, I can't say how it always has been. I haven't time travel to go back. Okay, sorry. I'm getting worked up. I just think... every time anyone says JIF, I think they're a moron.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The... awesome tattooed guy from PBS Bongo Bongo, which is a web show about word etymology, did an episode about the word literally and said that despite how it's used, evolution of a word isn't something to comment on, it's just an evolution of the word.
The GIF pronunciation page.
Or GIF.
How to pronounce GIF? This guy says GIF.
Okay, then. I guess now we need to give a shout out to youtube.com/wordguide. Okay.
Okay, anyway. But I've also heard GIF. a lot.
Okay.
So my understanding is that words. It doesn't even matter what the person who creates the words thinks it's how it's said. It's more matters of like how the common vernacular assimilates the word and uses it.
So then we're both right. Yay!
And so I think that the majority of people who say GIF or GIF, as opposed to the extremely small population that says GIF or jife. But okay, I'm willing to accept that my mind will be changed if I hear anyone other than the Vlogbrothers or whatever say jife.
Okay.
Because I just can't stand for that. Just because it doesn't make any sense.
Just so you know, though, Nerdfighteria is a very global community. So there. Anyway, we're moving right along. But yeah, so the internet was less important as we were coming up in age. However, the feelings associated with people who are turning to the internet for connection and community are exactly the same, I think. I think it is irresponsible of us or anybody to diminish the importance of communities, because it's something that everybody needs. And if people who can't, for whatever reason, be it social awkwardness or anxiety disorders or anything, can't connect in life, online communities and forums are really important. Which is what I think the movie was partly trying to say. There's characters like Ansel Elgort's character, whose online community is taken away from him.
Yeah, it's sort of he's into video games. So I mean, he basically plays a game that's a lot like World of Warcraft. They call it something else, but you look at it like he's basically World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
but yeah, we don't want to get too much into the his final act.
Well, but his community is forcibly taken from him, and he kind of spirals out of control. And, you know, like, watching someone go through that as an adult, it's really easy to think, well, you know, they're just overreacting and it's not that big of a deal. But when you're there and you're entrenched in these communities, it feels very real, and oftentimes it is. And it's just something that is important to people. And
it is a point that, like, a lot of people see video games and stuff as a waste of time, but other people are so, like, it's so much of an integral part of their existence. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I mean, I'm personally more inclined, because I'm not much of a gamer, to be on the side of, like, yeah, you know, playing that much video games isn't healthy, and then, you know, and arguably it isn't, because I think that it's just an inactive lifestyle. But at the same time, like, if it is sort of a means of escape from an otherwise kind of harsh reality, let's explore that plot a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And that basically this character, he left his football team because he didn't understand the point behind it.
Well, to be fair, his mother also abandoned his family.
Yes, so there was I guess there's a level of depression that he's going through, and one of the escapes from real life is through video games, because real life, I mean, that's a hard thing to handle. It's not an easy thing to go through at any age, never mind being a volatile teenager. Actually,
apparently, the older you get, the harder the divorce of your parents is on you, like, as the child.
That makes sense. As I think, imagine if it gets a little easier once you're already grown up and, like, emancipated. Well, not to say that it's easy, but I think that, like, it's not as. I think basically he seemed like the perfect age for it to be the worst.
Yeah.
For, like, right in your mid-teens, where you've spent your whole life growing up with things the way they are, and then to have someone who you love and you assume loved you
walk out,
just disappear from your life. That's not an easy thing.
No. But moving on, his mother abandons his family, moves away, and he decides he doesn't want to play football anymore,
which is a telltale sign of depression. If things that once brought you happiness just no longer do, then that's one sign that you could be depressed.
Yes. So he decides to quit football, and in a way that is him stepping away from one community, and that former community lashes out quite vigorously
and occasionally violently.
Yeah,
but definitely more on a harassing side, like through harassing anonymous texts and stuff like that.
And whatnot.
Yeah.
He, in search for another community, he goes to online gaming, which is fine and great and okay. There's been studies out there that highlight how not destructive video games can be.
I definitely think that the notion of like video games promoting violence and stuff like that, I think it's just
it's ludicrous.
I think that it's blown way out of proportion. I do agree that there's some video games that are just take things too far and are inappropriate for kids and should be monitored.
Well,
but
that's why we have a rating system for video games.
Yeah,
right?
but there's a lot of parents that don't pay any attention to that. They're like, it'll shut them up for 3 hours at a time.
Which is unfortunate, and which is why
literacy
in it is...
But there is a rating system there, just as there is for movies.
Yeah.
But it's not as strictly... It's harder to...
Enforce
than movies. At least in movies and theaters. I mean, really, I guess another thing with the internet is that any kid can download any movie, including, as this explores pornographic content.
Yep.
Quite easily. In fact, it's almost easier to download porn than it is to see a movie that's rated R sometimes, because you can stumble upon porn
accidentally,
and it happens all the time, which is unfortunate. Well, depending on I guess one's point of view.
Yeah, I think it's decent. Then again, I also don't have children, so
anyway, I got a little off track. Actually, I think this is one of the things that the film does very well. Is it kind of shows the generational gap and how parents are having a difficult time understanding their children and their relationship with technology, because it just isn't the same as when they were younger. You can see that with the father who disconnects the gaming community.
Yeah.
You can see that the most in Jennifer Garner, her storyline with her daughter. In this case, what it is that she's so overprotective because she's so afraid of all the content you can find online. In some ways, rightfully so, but approaching it from a very totalitarian way, where it's just like she reads basically everything that's on her Facebook, any text she sends, any chats she's online with. So basically, she's become this so overbearing that is just basically it's an invasion of privacy at that point.
Yeah, it is.
Her daughter's at that age now; she's a teenager. She's not a little kid, and It's just like you have to. Teenagers, they're starting to explore a level of freedom and a level of independence that just they because their minds are in that developmental stage,
and a level of bow chicka bow wow.
Well, some teenagers get a more bow chicka bow wow than others, but as you and I both know.
It's funny because it didn't happen. Anyway,
it's interesting, sort of. Although one doesn't necessarily agree with the approach the mother's taking, I think that any parent can understand the desire to protect their children from potentially harmful content and predators and stuff like on the internet. Like, these are actual problems. Mm-hmm. But there's a more realistic and more down to earth approach, and I think that when every action you take is based on fear, it's not healthy, and it winds up being an impairment of an actual relationship. The daughter would probably benefit much more from a genuine talk with her mom and going just talking about warning signs and doing some research on here's some things that you should try and avoid, rather than just being a police officer and overseeing everything. Anyway, it's again there's so much to dig into in this film.
There really is so many different social issues too.
It's surprising how well it balances them all.
It could have gone very, very terribly, but the script really does everything justice.
So, in that case, let's give a shout-out to the screenplay writers. Jason Reitman being one of them. Chad Koltgen, I think is how one might say that name. Aaron Cressida Wilson.
And that's
So-
Aaron with an E.
Okay, so Chad Kultgen wrote the novel that it was based off of.
Yeah.
Jason Reitman and Aaron, female Aaron, so with an E, Christina Wilson, were the writers of the screenplay.
What have they done before? I'm really curious now.
The novel writer or the...
Let's go for the writer that's not the... Well, both, yeah.
Aaron Wilson wrote Chloe, the one with Amanda Seyfried and Julianne Moore.
Right.
And some shorts and a TV movie, so not a whole lot.
Wasn't Secretary a very well-received film?
Oh, Secretary, is that the one with Maggie Gyllenhaal? It is. Yeah, okay.
I still need to see that.
I did see that.
Oh.
It's a little kinky. It's a little kinky. You get to see a lot of Maggie Gyllenhaal. If you're a fan.
Well.
Chad Kultgen is a writer of...
Oh, the incredible Burt Wonderstone. He did the story for that. Saw that. That was a fun film.
Yeah, mostly shorts and TV movies, so nothing too much. I mean, then again, maybe he has more novels under his belt, but it doesn't. Nothing that's been necessarily turned
Wikipedia
into...
would tell us that.
Well, I guess they would. The Average American Male, The Lie, Men, Women, and Children, The Average American Marriage.
Well, at least he's doing well for himself. Moving on, shall we talk about Anorexic Girl or the model?
Well, we can talk about both to some degree. In that they both kind of deal with body image, the sort of expectations on young girls, but kind of from a different angle.
Hashtag feminism.
Yeah, and this is interesting because I mean, feminism is a bit of a hot topic today these days.
Oh,
and
are you referring to the "I'm not a feminist" movement?
Well, that's a part of it. There's a lot of things that I've been reading up a lot on feminism and
good work.
And some of the strange attitudes people have toward it, because there's a lot of misconceptions as to what feminism is, and also
the conservative right is also vilifying feminism quite a lot.
I don't even like. What do you mean?
Oh, well, have you ever heard the term feminazi?
I maybe.
Okay, well, Rush Limbaugh, conservative radio host and kind of a bigot, although maybe we don't want to say bigot, horrible person. Whenever talking about feminism, often refers to feminists as feminazis to try and portray feminism and people who believe in it very negatively.
Okay, well, I mean, the thing is, I hesitate to put characters like Rush Limbaugh, like the thing is, like, you say conservative almost like with a certain level of like, oh, he's conservative. Well, but like, I mean, I think that like by definition, the term conservative isn't a bad thing, and I consider myself in a lot of ways conservative.
Yeah,
and so like, but I also don't consider myself similar to Rush Limbaugh.
There's. The way I like to look at it is there are political conservatives and then there are social conservatives. Political conservatives, at the very least in the United States, want to keep government and the budget and everything like that conservative, like tight to the chest and not go too crazy with everything. Social conservatives don't believe in a woman's right to choose, contraceptives, equal rights for women, and I
don't even think that like that doesn't even seem like conservative to me.
Well,
that doesn't like by the use of the word, it just doesn't seem like it's conservative. It seems like it's more like controlling.
Well, yeah, but
that's not conservative. That just means that they want to control everything.
Yeah, and it like they've taken the term and reappropriated it in very negative ways.
Like what some feminists are doing, or like what some people think feminists. Well, some feminists actually do have like some pretty radical stances, and they're like, "Well, this is feminism," and when it's not,
no.
And so you're just basically saying like you're saying that there's like this one idea of what conservative is and what it's become, but you're also trying to hold on to this term of what feminism is and what it should mean. So I think that I don't know. Like we either have to go by the definition of the word or what it's becoming.
I would like to go with the definition of the word.
Okay.
Just because it works in my favor when it comes to things like feminism.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe I'm being selfish, but I don't know. Either way, what social conservatism has become, it's become very, very destructive. It's surprising that the people who are attaching themselves to that specific definition were also the political party that freed the slaves in America.
And in Canada, our Conservative Party just does whatever the hell it wants to do.
Stephen Harper, shortly after getting elected, after Canada got marriage equality, was quoted at an anti-marriage equality rally as saying, and I quote, "This is a fight we can win." The thing, though, is that in America, running on a political platform like that probably will get you elected in a lot of different places there. In Canada, you can say whatever you want, but if you try and put it into public policy, you will not have a political career.
We're getting off topic, though.
Yes.
So, anyway.
Circling back around, should we discuss the anorexic girl, then?
She's got an interesting story, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that there's, it really highlights a lot of an issue that not even teenage girls, but, like, a lot of, like, full-grown women as well go through in regards to, like, body image and what is considered a socially acceptable weight level. What defines you as beautiful, and unfortunately, like we kind of see like her poor life choices based on these insecurities in regards to like basically she's not eating.
Yeah.
It's full blown anorexia. To see that reinforced in Thinspiration. Well, right. But even like in her actual social real life friends, they're like, "Oh my God, you're looking so good."
Yeah.
But it's like she's malnourished. She's not looking good. She's looking skinny.
There's like skinny, and then there's like eat.
Please. Well, I mean,
please
eat. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is that like. I mean, and some women are naturally very thin, and that's just the way it is, and that's fine. That's their bodies. But this sort of hits the pulse on like that level of expectation on people who may not naturally be able to get that thin without harming their bodies.
Yeah.
I'm more of a fan of just be healthy.
Please,
I mean,
yes.
you can be a little heavier, but try and be healthy.
Yeah.
And that that requires eating well. Yeah, and eating, but also like exercising and.
I think as we're talking about this, we should establish as a fact that we aren't body shaming or fat shaming in any way, or thin shaming, or speaking negatively about any specific body type or shape.
I didn't feel that I was.
No. I just want to have it said for the record.
Okay, for the record, yeah.
In case something is maybe misconstrued. Not saying that anyone will misconstrue what we're saying.
Okay. You're basically putting on a disclaimer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back to that. Have you heard of Thinspiration?
Was that actually in the movie?
It was in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and that's a real site?
It's not a real site, but it's a real movement online. I know for a fact that before Yahoo bought it, it was very easy to find on Tumblr. It's like all over the internet, really. It's a hashtag, and girls and people who are trying to lose a lot of weight and conform to unrealistic body standards go to it for quote-unquote inspiration to be thinner, and it is, from what I've seen of it, very, very destructive and not healthy. Please don't use Thinspiration, dear listener.
Yeah, again, I support being healthy, and not eating is a way of not being healthy. Yeah. So I mean, there's a balance, and I think that's something that this movie kind of implies for the most part is finding a balance between real life, online life, taking care of your body and losing weight, but don't do it in a way that's unhealthy, like malnouring yourself.
Although I think it might need to be addressed that when it comes to beauty standards for women, there is no middle ground. There's no safe
No, and that's a good point. Is that I feel like unfortunately there's this level of conditioning in our society where through negative reinforcement and such that women are almost set up to fail and set up so that they're never happy with their own beauty.
Tina Fey has been quite an outspoken feminist, and I think it was she who said that about like the beauty standards set by like Kim Kardashian and Beyonce, that the fact that bigger women are coming into prominence as beautiful isn't necessarily a good thing, because now it's just setting more standards on top of the pre-existing ones for women to need to live up to. And that, I think, exemplifies the issues at hand and how destructive that they can be. You know, like in my own writing, whenever I'm writing a female character, my mantra is I think of a man and then I add on oppression and insane social conditions to live up to.
We're a little short on time, so let's move along. I suppose I don't think we'll be able to touch on all the subjects that the film touches on, because
there's so many. Please see the movie. Please see the movie.
But let's talk about. I guess if there's one thing that you would say worked the best for you about this movie, what would it be?
Oh God.
Apparently, that question pained him.
Everything.
Ah, yes, that one everything.
Yes.
Okay.
There's just so much, and it's all good, and everybody should see this. So before we wrap up,
well, I mean, about me, I
right.
want to say, okay, well,
Sorry.
basically, I want to say that, like, if I had to summarize what it is that I liked about this film, is that I felt it's one of the best movies to tackle issues in a very even-handed way. And I feel that Jason Reitman is 36 years old.
He's young for a director.
Yeah, especially a director who's been doing it as long as he has. He's 36 years old, but he's very consistently has his finger on the pulse of the youth of today. And I feel that that's why Juno took off the way it did and became the hit that it was, that teenagers really, really connected with that movie.
Yeah.
I feel that they will also connect heavily with this one, but not just teenagers. I think a lot of adults will as well. And I think that he's really tuned in to real issues,
modern issues.
And you know, although we've been talking about really heavy issues this whole podcast, I don't even think we mentioned that this movie's really funny.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like it is a comedy.
Yes.
It's actually got like some
much
very
wit.
laugh out loud moments, and it does that by like tuning into the comedy of real life, and the fact that it's almost like a level of absurdity to people's lives.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that he knows how to balance so well.
And to be fair, I think that can be said of all of his films.
Again, I haven't seen Labor Day. Apparently that one was a little more serious, but definitely Young Adult, and definitely Juno and Up in the Air.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a comedy in how uncomfortable these real life situations are.
Yeah.
What is it that, if you had to say, like, there's anything you disliked about this movie, what would it be?
Oh, it ended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a really, really good movie. I want everyone to see it. It's so good.
I guess if I had any complaints, actually, you know, it's really hard. Maybe it was just like there was. I don't know if I'd like or dislike that there was like a lack of resolution for some of the stories, because I mean that's kind of how life is, and that like sometimes you just don't get resolution. You get.
Well, you know, for this film, I think that in itself was a resolution for a lot of the stories, and you know, like you see that the characters are taking their circumstances and dealing with it, and yeah, you know, I don't want to give anything away because it's pretty much the ending of all of the stories in the movie, but they kind of find an acceptance and deal with their circumstance, and you see that there are people who are going to be living differently.
Yeah, you know, I always think that there's always something that doesn't work in a movie for everybody, but I am really struggling kind of legitimately to find something that I didn't like. I mean, in some ways I was uncomfortable by some of like the teen sexuality and stuff like that, but then again, like that was the movie's intent.
Yep.
Like, so it's like I can't say that as a con. I'd say that like maybe it's good that I found some of that uncomfortable. You know.
To be fair, when it comes to movies about teenage sexuality, all of the actors are at least 18, and if not, much older.
Typically, I mean, just in this case, well, let's take a look. This Ansel Elgort fellow is 20. And he pulled off 15 pretty well, but he's 20.
And it's like a common condition, right?
I guess I guess we can safely say you'd recommend it.
Very much so, yes.
Anyone in particular you would recommend it to, or like any demographic that you think it would hit home with the most?
Old people.
Old people?
Old people.
What do you define as old people? Because some people could call 50 old.
Oh.
And I don't. I think 80 is more old.
30?
30's old people?
Yes.
You mean to tell me in 2 years you're going to be old people?
Yes.
Yeah. You're hardly grown up. You're going to be old and living with your mother.
Maybe we'll cut that part out.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay.
Maybe we will. Okay.
Great. So, I would recommend it to anybody, especially people who can't connect with their kids or feel unattached or that they can't connect in this digital world.
Yeah, I think anyone who's looking for sort of a well-balanced opinion on... because, I mean, there's some people who are just like, the internet's ruining kids these days and blah, blah, blah. Or some people have spend unhealthy amounts of time on the internet. Mm-hmm. This is a chance to kind of like... to see a lot of different sides of the argument, and say that I would recommend this film definitely for kids to teens today. Even though there's objectionable material, I think that this pretty much spells out that it's nothing you haven't seen before.
Yeah, and
also I think that a lot of teens would feel properly represented by this film, and parents too. I think that parents should watch this. I think it gives a good impression of what kind of struggles teens are going through. So if you want to connect a little bit better with your kids, here's some food for thought.
Yeah.
But also just like people who want to go watch a good movie, people who want to have a good laugh, who want to see something that's down to earth but also really engaging. Mm-hmm. This is a good movie to watch. It's hard for me to like. If someone says, should I watch this movie, I can't imagine going like, no, it's not good.
No.
So
definitely watch it. Everybody watch it.
In fact, I'd like it so much, I think I'm going to give it a full 5 stars. Mm-hmm. You as well?
Yeah.
All right. Mason likes to do the Bechdel test for his feminism meter.
Well, because I think as film podcasters, we have something of a social obligation to help the fight for equality
yes.
and exemplify how women are being treated in the media.
And it's fair. And you were paying attention to this, obviously.
Yes.
So and I was to some degree as well. But what is your final count?
I would say that it categorically passes.
I think there was one of the earliest scenes with the teen girls. There were like 3 teen girls talking, and I don't think they were ever talking about dudes. Oh, maybe on occasion. I think in that first scene where it's the 3 cheerleader girls. Mm-hmm. I think they were just talking about like their each other and
but their conversation about like the quote unquote guy who, let's face it, probably didn't even exist.
Oh yeah, there was that aspect.
Yeah. That was still in relation to one of the characters, and not like, oh, this is my boyfriend and he's a dude and he is everything to me, and watch me sacrifice my dreams and pursue love, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's not The Wedding Planner.
No. If any, that scene is good for setting up their own individual struggles. Mm-hmm. Also, there's a lot of interesting, complex relationships with the women characters. Interesting mother-daughter relationship, boyfriend-girlfriend, girls who are kind of two-faced around one another, girls who are like legitimate friends.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good male characters, a lot of good female characters, a lot of interesting, complex relationships on all fronts.
Yes.
So what more could you ask for? As far as like being a really well balanced movie, so
definitely,
I think I'd say that it passes the Bechdel test. So, hooray! Woo! And actually, I think that's another thing. Jason Reitman, I think another thing. He picks projects that have strong female characters.
Yeah.
I know you didn't see Young Adult, but definitely like really interesting female characters in that one. Juno, definitely,
of course,
because the title character, Juno, she's the lead, and she's a really cool character.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that just shows again, like, he's a great modern filmmaker. Mm-hmm. I feel, here's my closing thoughts, and I shared this with Mason earlier. I feel that Men, Women, and Children is the Fast Times of Ridgemont High for the modern age. It covers a lot of serious issues, but it's funny, it is engaging, and it's much more modern now. It's like, Fast Times of Ridgemont High was so relevant for the early 80s when it came out.
Yeah.
This is so relevant for today. Mm-hmm. And it speaks high school, it speaks adult, it speaks the many languages of film. I think we're going to leave it at that because I'm basically out of time for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you get a chance to watch Men, Women, and Children, we both highly recommend it.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Have fun.
And we're moving on.